All right, let's talk about some of the more positives performances from the weekend. And we got to ask the question, are we going to jump on the bandwagon? Let's go.
Get off the bandwagon.
It's time for bandwagon riding. Getting on, getting off. Make up your mind, all right?
So I mentioned the Chargers earlier, and they threw the ball all over the field. So as far as wide receivers go, Quentin Johnson kind of picked up where he left off, and he actually had no hype in the offseason.
Right.
Kind of the forgotten man. And I would argue that was kind of dumb of us as the fantasy community. Like, why? I don't know. We got too excited about Trey Harris, and then he wasn't a factor, at least in game one. We know McConkey's there. And then Keenan Allen looked pretty good back in a Chargers uniform. Lad McConkey, not a great game. Quentin was more of the beneficiary. Actually, him and Keenan both scored more than Lad. So which of those guys are you jumping on the bandwagon for?
Quentin Johnson, for sure. I mean, Quentin Johnson had a terrible rookie season, and he was plagued by this drop issue. And then last year, things started to get turned around. And I think it's the Harbaugh effect. I just think Harbaugh takes these guys who have bad narratives about them, or sort of discouraging things that have happened to them, or like bad attitude, and he gets them excited about just playing football again. And it just looks like Quentin Johnson, he could continue the trend from last year. And maybe, I mean, McConkey's still the wide receiver one there. I'm not too worried about him. But Johnson, is just a guy that we slept on because of Trey Harris, because of Keandre Lambert-Smith, this kind of darling in the preseason. But it just looks like he's going to be the guy. And he had a great game. He had a great game. He caught touchdowns, but also he just looked good in plays besides those touchdown catches. So I'm willing to get on that bandwagon for sure.
All right, so down in Atlanta at the end of last year, Michael Penix Jr. came in and it looked pretty good. And him and Drake London had a nice connection. And there was some, I would say, not much, like Penix wasn't talked about much in the offseason, at least from what I listened to. So anyway, so he comes in, and week one, although they lost to the Bucks, he finished QB 10, scored 24 fantasy points, and scored more than Jaden Daniels. How about that? So are you jumping on the Michael Penix Jr. bandwagon?
Maybe. I mean, I think it's just more like we've been saying for years, hey, there's this guy on your team named Bijan Robinson. There's this guy named Drake London. There's a guy, Kyle Pitts, right? If you can just find a quarterback who just gets the ball into these guys' hands, they're going to have a good offense, right? And that's what he did. Long touchdown, a little dump off pass to Bijan that turned into a long TD, trying to get the ball to Drake London. At the end of the game, when they're kind of doing their 2-minute offense, just remembering, oh yeah, Kyle Pitts is on my team, and he's a great sort of escape hatch. You know, if London's not open down the field, I can dump it off to Pitts for 12 yards up the sideline over here. So yeah, so I think Penix will probably be in that kind of low end quarterback one conversation. And I'm not sure that it's because he's a great quarterback. It's just he's a competent quarterback with a bunch of great players around him. So yeah, you could start him, kind of stream him in a pinch if you needed to do something like that.
So looking at the scores for quarterbacks, top 10 guys, Daniel Jones was 2,
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers 7, and Penix 10. Those are definitely some surprises. You had Geno Smith at 15.
I just want to.
So there you go.
I just want to say a word.
Bo Nix at 27 was also a negative surprise, and Joe Burrow at 28. Yikes.
Yeah, I just want to say a word about Daniel Jones. Okay, like he's had games like this in the past. I don't expect every game for him to be like
No,
this. We already talked
don't.
about the Miami Dolphins effect, but he runs more than kind of we give him credit for. And I just think Tyler Warren, Michael Pittman, I think that those guys are good players, that Jones, again, is competent enough to get the ball into their hands. And so I don't expect Jones to be a top 5 quarterback every week, but I think that you can maybe go back to Michael Pittman with a little bit more confidence than you've been able to in the past. And again, in a pinch, because of his rushing upside, you can start Daniel Jones in fantasy. Even when he has a bad game from an NFL quarterback perspective, he still might rush for 70 yards in a given game, or run the ball in for a touchdown. So just to say that offense maybe is going to be a little bit more exciting than we thought, and the Indianapolis Colts might be a little bit better team than we thought. And you know, the whole sort of Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson debate that was going on during the preseason and during training camp. I just think I want to kind of revise a statement that I made earlier. I think that Jones is going to continue to be the starter there all season long, unless he really falls off in a major way. And so it probably means Richardson is just I think he maybe just be done in the NFL. But yeah, Colts are going to be a sneaky, interesting team this season, I think.
That division is going to be wild.
And so
we'll mention one more name here for bandwagon riding, because I couldn't commit this offseason. I wanted to, and I never was able to draft them. I just couldn't commit. But Trevor's
on the Panthers.
Trevor's on the Panthers.
Travis on the Jaguars.
Travis Etienne looked good for the Jaguars.
Yeah, he did.
I'm on the bandwagon. And now they just traded away Tank Bigsby, which we should have talked about him during shenanigans. What does that mean for Will Shipley, my boy from Weddington?
It's not good news for Will Shipley. I don't think it's good news for Will Shipley. And I would say
it's great news for Etienne. News for Etienne.
It's almost like the Jaguars went into this game and they were like, let's just see which one of these guys does better and we'll trade the other one. And Etienne, he broke off that huge run at the beginning. And then
it's against the Panthers, but still.
Right. Bigsby didn't get that. I mean, Etienne is still an exciting athlete. I just hope that the Jacksonville offense can be competent this season. And it's hard to know based on one game against the Panthers, whether that's going to be the case. But yeah, I think I'm ready to say, get on the Etienne bandwagon as long as he's healthy. I think you're going to be able to start him as like your RB2 and feel okay about that.
Yep. No, I definitely. Yeah, I feel good about that for sure.